Hello, welcome to my video on 5 things that you should do before you switch to a vegan diet. So, so number one, the first thing that you should do before you switch to a vegan diet is look at the things that you can and can't eat. So the things you can't eat are obviously meat and dairy, but also there are lots of hidden animal-derived products like whey protein and casein and gelatin, and there's lots of E numbers which are used in food that you may not be aware of. So things like the cochineal beetle. I'm just looking down my list here. Cochineal beetle is E120, which is used as colouring. Beeswax is E901. Okay, so you need to be aware of the hidden E numbers in foods. There'll be a list on my website, and I'll try and list as many as I can, the ones I'm aware of. But in terms of what you should be eating, well, you can eat what you like, but really it should be a healthy, balanced meal, mainly consisting of whole plant-based food. We try and stick to around 85-90% of whole plant-based food, and with 10% of plant-based products like vegan cheese, vegan hot dogs and burgers. And you might find that this is something that you might need more of as you start that transition to a vegan lifestyle, as you're beginning to learn and understand what it is that you should be eating. Okay, so the second thing that you should do before you switch to a vegan diet, you should do some research on nutrition and where do you currently get your nutrients from. Now, I knew kind of very little about nutrition before I switched to a vegan diet, and since becoming vegan, I've took it upon myself to learn a lot more about nutrition just to make sure I'm getting the right nutrients. So the questions you need to ask yourself are: where will your sources of protein be now that you're not eating meat? Well, I'll tell you they're going to be things like beans and pulses and legumes. And vegetables, whole food plant-based vegetables contain protein. Where are you going to get your vitamin B12? Well, everybody should be getting their dose, their weekly dose of B12 from supplement. Now, it's not something that I'm recommended. This is something recommended by the British Dietetics Association. You want to look at things like iron. Where are your sources of iron? How much iron should you be getting? And things like calcium. What are the sources of calcium now that you're not taking not eating dairy products? There's actually calcium in vegetables in various amounts. So these are kinds of things, the kinds of questions you should be asking yourself. Omega-3, that's another one. Before you switch to a vegan diet, know how much you should be getting, and also know the kinds of sources of the nutrients that you should be getting. That's number 2. That's the second thing you should be doing on a vegan research that you should be doing before you switch to a vegan diet. So the third thing you should be doing as part of your research for switching to a vegan diet is knowing what you're going to be eating on a day-to-day basis. So what are you going to be eating during the week? What are you going to be eating at the weekends? And can you go through your current list of meals that you make and see, can you find vegan versions of those items, of the things that you eat? So can you make a spaghetti bolognese a vegan? Can you make sausage mash lentil curry? Can you make that vegan? Of course you can. So just look at what you're eating and just see, are there vegan versions out there? What do you have to replace? What do you need to do in order to veganize it? And I would recommend you do that for at least a week, maybe for 2 weeks. Write down as many meals that you currently make and think, right, what do I need to replace in order to make this vegan? And you don't have to be perfect straight away, but just do your best and try and cut out the meat elements, the dairy elements of your meal. And that's something that's going to stand you in good stead when you first go vegan, because you're going to have a nice list of things that you can eat rather than worrying about what you can't eat. So that's the third thing I highly recommend you do before you switch to a vegan diet. So if you're getting stuck with trying to veganize your meals, find a recipe book, find some good resources of vegan recipes. There's plenty out there. I can highly recommend the Bosch book, and look at those recipes and actually try those recipes out. And that's going to give you some ideas, some new things that you can try. It's going to give you some new energy and some excitement, some new foods that you can try on this new vegan journey of yours. So yeah, another tip I would give you regarding choosing a vegan recipe book is find a book that you like the look of the food and that you will most likely cook the food. Not just it looks nice on my shelf. The recipes look nice, but is it food that you're actually going to eat? So that would be a tip, a very strong tip for you if you're gonna look for a vegan recipe book. And finally, my fifth tip for things you should do before you switch to a vegan lifestyle is know why you've become vegan. You're going to get lots of questions from people, especially if people around you aren't following a vegan lifestyle, and all of a sudden you've just changed. People are going to ask questions, they're going to be curious, and they're going to know why. And if you don't know why, you haven't thought about it in a way that, or you haven't been able to vocalize, you haven't actually explained it to someone why you're going vegan, then it might be a bit tricky when someone asks you for the first time, or the third time, or the fifth time. And also, it's worth actually writing it down for yourself, so you know when times become difficult. Give yourself some time, write down, do some journaling, and write down the reasons why you come to the conclusion that you want to become vegan, and write down the kind of the top 5 reasons why you want to become vegan. So when someone asks you, you will have that information ready to hand in your mind because you've just thought about it. And these are things that are important to you. These reasons are probably in line with your values of your health. Is it the environment? Is it for sports? Is it for the animals? So whatever the reasons are, I would strongly encourage you to write those down and maybe revisit those once in a while, just to remind yourself why you're doing this. Because it's not going to be, it might be easy, but I particularly didn't find it easy at the start, but I just knew the reasons why I was doing it. So I was kind of passionate, I was driven forward, and here we are 4 years on. So those are my tips, 5 things that you should do before you decide to embark on a vegan diet. Things that I didn't do, but hopefully they've been helpful. I give you an idea of things that you can do or you should be doing. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye bye.